Limiting ultra-processed foods is one of the most critical and often underestimated strategies for reducing visceral fat. While calorie counting, macros, and exercise often get the spotlight, the quality of the food you eat may matter even more than the quantity when it comes to deep metabolic health. Ultra-processed foods, UPFs, are engineered to be hyperpalatable and shelf-stable, but they wreak havoc on your internal systems, creating the perfect storm for fat accumulation, especially around your internal organs. These foods typically include sugary cereals, packaged snacks, frozen meals, sweetened beverages, processed meats, instant noodles, and mass-produced baked goods. They're designed with combinations of sugar, salt, unhealthy fats, often including trans or industrial seed oils, flavor enhancers, and emulsifiers that override your natural hunger signals and disrupt gut health. They are not just empty calories, they are actively harmful metabolic agents. Even when consumed in moderate portions, they can lead to insulin resistance, chronic inflammation, and hormonal imbalance, all of which are tightly linked to the development and persistence of visceral fat. One of the most dangerous aspects of UPFs is how they undermine the body's ability to self-regulate. They spike blood sugar rapidly, leading to insulin surges, followed by crashes that promote cravings, fatigue, and more eating, a vicious cycle that feeds visceral fat development. They also contain synthetic additives and preservatives that may alter the microbiome, reduce the diversity of beneficial gut bacteria, and promote a leaky gut, triggering systemic inflammation and metabolic disruption from the inside out. Multiple studies now show that people who consume a higher percentage of their calories from ultra-processed foods have more visceral fat, even when controlling for total calorie intake and body weight. In other words, two people could eat the same number of calories, but the one who eats a higher proportion of whole foods will likely have significantly less internal fat and a lower risk of metabolic disease. Another insidious feature of UPFs is their calorie density and lack of satiety. Because they are low in fiber, protein, and water content, they don't fill you up, so you eat more, often without realizing it. This promotes frequent overeating, which further worsens fat accumulation and metabolic strain. In contrast, whole foods like vegetables, legumes, nuts, whole grains, and lean proteins provide volume, nutrients, and satisfaction, helping you eat less naturally without strict calorie restriction. But even beyond the metabolic effects, UPFs disrupt your hormonal environment. They suppress adiponectin, a fat-burning hormone, raise cortisol under chronic intake conditions, and desensitize dopamine receptors, leading to more compulsive eating behavior. Over time, this pattern can entrench visceral fat storage and make it increasingly difficult to reverse, even with exercise or traditional dieting. Here's the reality check. Most modern diets are made up of more than 50% ultra-processed foods. These foods are cheap, accessible, and aggressively marketed, but they are also one of the most direct contributors to abdominal obesity, type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, and cardiovascular risk. They don't just make you gain weight, they change where your body stores that weight, pushing it into your belly and around your vital organs. To start reversing this, you don't need to eliminate every convenience food overnight. Begin by replacing one UPF-laden meal or snack per day with a whole food alternative. Swap sugary breakfast cereal for oats with fruit and nuts. Replace packaged snacks with a boiled egg and a piece of fruit, or a handful of seeds. Instead of frozen pizza, make a quick stir-fry with frozen vegetables, tofu, and olive oil. Every small replacement shifts your metabolic state closer to fat burning and away from fat storing. Ultimately, visceral fat is not just a weight problem, it's a quality of food problem. Your body responds to the information in your food, and ultra-processed foods send the wrong message. They tell your system to hoard fat, raise inflammation, and ignore normal hormonal cues. Whole, minimally processed foods do the opposite. They stabilize blood sugar, promote satiety, reduce inflammation, and support the gradual, steady loss of dangerous internal fat. Reducing your intake of ultra-processed foods isn't about dietary purity, it's about reclaiming metabolic control. And in the fight against visceral fat, that control can mean the difference between a slow decline and a slow, but powerful reversal of risk.